Get this ball rolling, and so I will introduce David with, I'm going to mess this up, Bliss, Bouldering and Climbing Complex. Follow your bliss.
Thank you very much.
You don't need to be a basketball star to jump through the air.
You don't have to sing like Adele and make everyone cheer.
You don't need to be elected homecoming king to feel successful.
You don't need a hop in the suburbs to prove that you've made it.
What I need to do is give it my all. To fail often. And get up and try it again. And again.
And again. And to enjoy the small successes along the way.
No, we're not talking about what we can teach you about rock climbing.
We're talking about what rock climbing can teach you about life.
Experience the life-changing power of rock climbing. Experience Bliss.
December 27th, 2014, 2 days after Christmas, Tommy Caldwell and Kevin Jorgensen stood at the base of the Dawn Wall, a 3,000-foot tall vertical granite slab in Yosemite National Park. The Dawn Wall had long been considered an impossible rock climb consisting of 32 pitches or sections. No one had ever managed to free climb it. Kevin and Tommy had been trying for the last 7 years, and likewise had been unsuccessful. But this year was different. As they started their journey, national news media somehow picked up on the story, maybe even more epic, by Kevin's seeming inability to finish the 15th pitch, a section that was more difficult than anything he had ever climbed before in his life. After 7 days of trying and falling on razor-sharp edges no wider than a dime, and sleeping on a portal ledge 2,000 feet above the ground, Kevin had resorted to supergluing and taping his fingertips in a frantic attempt to hold the fragile skin onto his shredded fingers. Many were beginning to believe that this attempt, like the ones before it, was going to end in failure. However, then somehow Kevin found that inner strength that we all have, but seldom realize, and he completed this most difficult leg of the journey, while Tommy waited patiently for his climbing partner to join him. As together they finished the remaining pitches and stepped to the top of the Dawn Wall, a full 19 days after starting their journey. History had been made, and climbing was suddenly cast into the spotlight and became mainstream. I have the honor of knowing Kevin, and we've been working together on my climbing gym ideas during this time. So during those 7 days, while he was resting on pitch 15, I had the opportunity to text message him. Surprisingly, there was a pretty good reception at 2,000 feet. As we shared some of my own frustrations with the entrepreneurial process and with building my gym, Kevin commented to me that Bliss was my Dawn Wall. Huge, seemingly impossible, and something that I could not give up on. And so you see, to me, climbing is a metaphor. It's a metaphor of life, because just like in climbing, in life, or business, marriage, school, nothing ever goes as planned. Failure is much more common than success. And progress is often measured in small, incremental steps. But in both, the key, the underlying principle, is this belief in yourself and a determination to never give up. Now, if we're honest with each other, we would all agree that we're probably overstressed, somewhat bored with our lives, and honestly uninspired by traditional health clubs and what we recognize as this need for a healthier lifestyle. And we could probably also use a little inspiration in life. And so we created an indoor rock climbing gym that offers an adventurous and very fun total body workout in a supportive, fun, and hip atmosphere. So that you can gain your life back, make new friends, and get in the best shape of your life. So what is Bliss? We're a full-service indoor rock climbing gym located at 28th Street North in Greenwich, about 3 blocks north of Dallas. Inside, we have our main room, which has 38-foot tall walls. They include top roping, which is where the rope is above you, and on the right there you'll see what we call lead climb, more advanced type of climbing. We also have auto belays, which are mechanical devices that will catch you without having to have a partner, so you climb by yourself. We have a bouldering room where you climb without a rope, fall on a padded floor. And we have a state-of-the-art dedicated fitness and training room. We offer yoga in our yoga studio. We also use this for birthday parties or corporate meetings. And then finally, we have a fully stocked pro shop with everything that you would need to climb indoors, either for purchase or for rent. I am totally stoked to bring this life-changing activity to Wichita, Kansas. What questions do you guys have?
All right, we're going to do a little question and answer. If you could raise your hand. Again, we don't have another mic, so speak loudly, and we'll try to repeat it if we need to.
Okay, two-part question. Is this a franchise or your own idea, number one? And number two, without giving us the numbers, how did you finance this? Because this is a very expensive deal.
Yes, it's not a franchise. There are about 400 climbing gyms throughout the United States, though, and it's a growing trend. I think that gyms have grown by 15% in the last year. But no, this is all ours. And finance was an incredible challenge. That's a long story. We tried doing partners. We couldn't find any partners. We talked to at least a dozen banks, I think, that said, we love the idea, it sounds great, but you're in Kansas, it isn't going to happen. Finally, Community National Bank in Wichita stood with us. We got SBA to help us out as well, and we financed it through that. Anything else? Yeah.
When did you start climbing as your driving passion?
Yeah, so first time I ever climbed was at WSU, the climbing wall. I'm a practicing physician here in town. We moved to Wichita to do my residency, and I had a friend that was at WSU back in 1993. And I climbed on the wall there. I was scared to death. Thought I was going to have a heart attack, but I fell in love with it. We then started climbing a little bit outdoors. I climbed at the Wise quite a bit. A climbing club that's here in Wichita. And about 3 years ago, well, more than that, 4 or 5 years ago, my son was involved with a lot of competition climbing. We traveled around the United States and saw all these amazing climbing gyms. And as we looked at those things, we just kept commenting to ourselves, Wichita really needs something like this. There's just so much of this mentality. Unfortunately, I think sometimes in Wichita, there's just nothing here that big cities have. And I just think that's a lie to begin with. But I do think there was some opportunity for growth. This was one area that we just saw something that really could just explode, and so that's where the dream and the idea came from.
Just a quick question. What kind of doctor are you?
Family practice.
Is it a per visit cost for me, or is there a monthly membership?
Both. So you come in, first time walk into the place, we charge $15 for a day pass. You spend as much of the day there as you want. We also have rental gear if you want to rent that for another $9.50. And then that basically about a 10-minute orientation, you'll be on the walls climbing. On the other hand, we also offer memberships, both on a monthly membership basis or a full year membership as well. Yes.
How's it currently being received as far as, how's your, that's your expectations is the first part of the question. And the second question, part of the question is, how are you funneling people to you? Like, like a lot of these other, like baseball and football, they all have these different funnels, whether it be BIDI or different things, West Urban. How are you?
Great question. So, yeah, I mean, so it's been exciting. It really has. We've seen a ton of people experience climbing for the first time. Probably, again, Wichita, 70% of people walking in our front door has never been in a climbing gym, never even tried climbing. And so we're doing really well. We're happy. We're about what we expected to be in our pro formas. We're about 70% where we need to be to pay the bills right now, so we've got some work to do yet. Most of our marketing is social media, Facebook, Instagram, word of mouth. If you saw the picture of the gym, we have this really cool mural on the side of the gym, which tends to get a lot of people's attention when they drive by the building. Oh, what happened? I don't know why I lost you guys. You lost me. I don't know, but anyway. It's there right now. Anything else?
Are you within 70% of giving up your medical practice?
No comment on that. Yes, sir.
What's the average age that you're getting on your walking?
Great question. 27 years old. Yeah. We have had everyone in there. We are open to anyone from 4 years old to 94 years old. I've had 80-year-old guys in there climbing. We had a lot of young kids that come in and climb. But obviously our demographic, our primary one is, the 20, 30-year-old millennials that look for something fun to do, something adventurous, very social.
Do you offer classes and or personal training, and also do you use your medical degree to help with any of the knowledge?
Sure. Yes, we do offer classes. We have climbing classes specifically to teach you how to different skills that you use in climbing to progress in your skill level. We have personal training from the standpoint of climbing specific training that we offer. Officially, I do not use my medical degree. I'm not offering any medical advice there or anything like that. Obviously, I have a real passion for physical fitness and for the way that our body interacts with nutrition, all of that. So that plays a big role in a lot of the training that I do personally.
How did you decide on the name?
So my son, Caleb, who was this climber I mentioned, and if you need to go to our website and start reading more, so you'll learn a lot more about this. But Caleb was an incredible climber, a really passionate climber. Unfortunately, he also struggled with depression. And about 3 years ago, he took his life. And one of his mantras that he used was a quote by Joseph Campbell called "Follow Your Bliss." And so that's where the name came from, the idea of using the word bliss. And we just thought it really fit well to what we want to present, was the idea of this is where you can find life. This is where you can find a meaning and significance in life. Yes.
Really sorry to hear about that. In regard to your business there, are you associated or you plan on being an associate or associate business with any other gyms in the area?
No, not really. No, I mean, I think we're just so unique. I don't really know how we would associate with anyone else. Now, we got some good relationships. Just right next door, this is Go Time Training. And we've had a great relationship with them. We've done a couple of events together with them. And so from that standpoint, maybe doing some common events. But I mean, we are very focused on climbing and how that affects the body and function, as opposed to some of the other gyms that are probably more just general physical fitness. Yes?
For the avid climber, how do you alter the walls? Do you change up activities?
Love that question. Best question today, right there. Okay? When you are a climber, your biggest frustration is getting bored on the same climb. We have 6 professional setters that work for us, and they change our routes over on a regular basis. This is what really sets us apart from all the other climbing experiences in Wichita. Our bouldering room completely changes every 6 weeks. Our top rope room completely changes every 12 to 15 weeks, and we're doing something every single week. So there's always something fresh and new there.
Do you have anything like a YouTube series that educates beyond climbing and the equipment needed and the benefits to help with this?
We're starting that. We do have a YouTube channel, Climb Bliss, I believe it is, right, Josiah? Josiah? Huh? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so YouTube is Bliss Bouldering and Climbing Complex. Everything else is at Climb Bliss. But we do have a YouTube channel, we have some stuff. We also have a blog at our website, climbbliss.com. Where I'm doing a weekly blog which specifically talks about that.
What is your social media campaign like? Do you stick to that messaging of this will take you to a higher place?
Yeah. So most of our social media approach has to do with highlighting our climbers, mostly. And so we do a lot of stories on people that have been there. We obviously show, we actually post stories like El Cap and some of those funnest stories about people really progressing and succeeding. And some it's just educational, like you mentioned. We do a lot of posts on this is how to take care of your hands. Okay, hands are critical to climbing and get pretty beat up, like you saw Kevin's fingers up there. That doesn't happen in the gym too often. Super big your fingers.
You sell super glue at the pro shop.
Yeah,
How long have you been open?
we opened on the day after Thanksgiving, so about 7 months now.
Awesome presentation. It was really unique. Have you guys thought about doing any, let's say, training on the classes to where, like, you've hit this level, let's do a group trip to Colorado and let's give you some education out actually in the...
Yeah, we have had a lot of interest in doing that. There's some liability issues with that. There's a whole different type of insurance that we have to obtain. We can do it, there are gyms that do that, but we just aren't quite at that point yet financially to take that next step. On the other hand, there are a number of our climbers that do go on trips. And a lot of times we'll just, members will connect with other members and I'll go and climb somewhere together. So, yeah.
What does it sound like and feel like inside your gym? Is there music? Is
Yes.
it quiet? Is it windy?
Yes, there's music. It's a big building, so in Kansas it sounds pretty windy sometimes. Okay, when we get the rains, but no, usually a lot of music, a lot of excitement, a lot of people kind of screaming, having fun. Climbing is very social. You can only hang on to that wall for 2 or 3 minutes and you're tired. And so the majority of your time climbing is hanging off the ground, talking to a friend, encouraging someone else. And so climbing is a very social experience where you really develop friendships. Plus, if you're belaying, you're holding the rope for somebody else, there's obviously a lot of trust involved with that too. And so yeah, it's a really kind of just a fun place to hang out.
As you were saying, there's a lot of new climbers. I would definitely be in that category. So what would kind of be your kind of step-by-step of like, okay, we'll get you in this and this, just kind of like a step-by-step?
Yep, absolutely. So you walk in the door and you fill out a waiver. Okay, keep our lawyers happy. And then we take you through about a 10-minute orientation where we show you the building, we talk about just some general things that you need to be watching out for, and we take you over to our auto belays, which are the ones that catch you by themselves. We show you how to hook into that. That takes about 10-15 minutes, and then you are at it. We've got routes in the gym. Our routes all are graded. So I mentioned that one route that Kevin was on that he kept falling on. That was graded at a very, very high level. Routes are graded by how difficult they are. So we have routes that are graded very, very introductory, that almost everybody can get up, at least get up some of it. And we got some routes that are extremely hard that some of these guys would at least have a little bit of a challenge on. So you kind of figure that out where those routes are at. Then after you've done that, then we try to get you to take a belay class. Because once you learn how to use the ropes and belay, then you can climb with somebody else, develop relationships, and start climbing all our other routes that don't have auto belays on them. Our next step past that would probably be to take you into one of our climbing 101 or 201 classes, which teach you a little bit of technique, how to move on the wall, how to breathe. Maybe get you into one of my training classes where I kind of take you through just some physical training that keeps you strong for climbing. And then maybe going into what we call lead climbing, which is more what you do outdoors. So you take a rope and you clip the rope as you go, so when you fall, you have a lot bigger falls. Yeah.
It's good for Kansas public health, good for kids. Why, I know that climbing gyms have been around a long time, but why right now in Kansas? Why do Kansas kids need?
There was a great study just recently, and I wish I had it up here. At the time, I would have brought it. They actually looked at climbing specific type of activities, even climbing a tree, as opposed to, say, doing something like yoga or riding a bicycle. And what they found out is that, and I may blast this because I'm not a great memory person, but it was, I think it's called functional memory. Its ability to problem solve was actually improved both in employees and in kids. And this is one of the reasons why Google headquarters has a climbing wall at their headquarters. Because they recognize that if they get their employees down there doing something that requires problem solving, requires 3-dimensional movement, they function much better in their jobs. And we're finding students are doing the exact same thing. Grades went up on this one test, they did about 50% after just 2 hours of climbing. So there's something about that type of activity that makes you have to think through everything, that really just explodes the ability of someone to problem solve. That's why we really believe it is a life-changing activity. Yes?
2 things. One, I think that birthday party idea is so interesting.
have you ever thought about, or are you already partnered with the Wichita Moms Blog?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And then also, you spoke so much about nutrition. I'm assuming probably you're engaged with maybe Whole Foods or Green Acres too.
So you mentioned I didn't hear the last.
Are you engaged with like Whole Foods or Green Acres for a marketing approach?
We haven't. Not a bad idea.
I think that'd be great. And then one more thing. I'm not from Wichita, but when family comes in town, you always want to come up with something new. And now having heard this, I'm thinking about things I can do with my family. Maybe around holidays, you could ramp up your marketing and do a discount for families or something so people are more apt to bring a whole family in.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, excellent.
I was just, do you have any kind of affiliation or connection with the public school systems? And how can that be maybe implemented or put in?
We don't. We have approached a couple of private schools.
Sure.
And haven't had really great response from them either. We're trying to come to some ideas of maybe even developing some high school climbing teams. I know bigger climbing communities do that. Obviously, the public schools have some significant financial issues the way it is right now, and trying to sell them one more thing I don't think is going to fly very far. But if we can set up, we would love to set up some. We have a climbing team right now in the gym, a youth climbing team with a coach. But we would love to set up like a high school competition where we beat throughout local high schools that compete with each other. Hopefully soon.
Do you have any long-term plans to expand, more locations, things like that?
They take over the world, man.
I want to hear.
Climbing will dominate. Well, I hope so. I really do. I mean, right now we're in the survival stage. We're just trying to keep our head above water and try to make this thing work. But we would love to see this gym go into other markets. We've had no people come through Wichita that have toured a number of other gyms and have given us incredible compliments. Even compared to national places like Colorado, that are huge climbing meccas, of just the quality of the gym that we put together, and the cleanliness of it, and the staff and everything we have. So we think we have a great product.
Thank you, David. Last question we asked at 1 Million Cups is, what as a community can we do to help you?
Great. So a couple of things. Obviously, number one, just tell your friends. Okay, like us on Facebook, on Instagram, follow us. As you know, Facebook has changed their algorithms. So in order for people to notice our stuff, someone has to share it, or like it, or comment on it. So please do that all you can. Secondly, we are looking for some co-marketing partners, like you mentioned. Companies in Wichita, primarily Wichita-based companies, that have similar demographics to us, that have a quality product that we feel we can we can offer to our members, and that would be willing to market with us. So if you know anybody like that, we would love to. And then lastly, just come climb. You need to try it out, and we don't want any excuses. So Josiah is my marketing director, right back behind me. He's also my son, super cool stud. And when you leave today, he's going to give you a free ticket to come in to climb for free, the rental's free, the whole day is free on us. We want you to come, try it out. When you try it, you're going to love it, I guarantee it.
This is a one-of-a-kind 1 Million Cups cup. So enjoy that. Don't climb with it. No drinking and climbing. Drinking and climbing are definitely forbidden, but you can make that a new deal. So there's a party idea right there. Anyway, we have a few announcements. I think Jacob's going to come to that.
Well, while we're getting set up with the while we are getting set up for the next presenter, a few announcements. I'm not going to throw up on the screen, but if you're ever looking for events that are here in the community, check out startupwichita.com. A couple of upcoming events that are actually happening this week. So this Friday at Reverie Coffee, there's Creative Collisions, just a simple place to come have coffee. Yeah, if you met somebody in this room, great place to follow up and have some great coffee, and actually be in the actual place where we provide the coffee here is Reverie, just down the street on Douglas. Next week we have federal grants, an informal discussion about SBIR. That's going to be at the WSU Metroplex. There's also a hangout happening at the Labor Party on the 12th as well at 6 p.m. Then Quick Start Business Planning for those that are interested in starting a business. That's on July 14th, also at WSU Metro Complex. So everything's on startupwichita.com. Please go check that out if you're ever in need of something to do. If you are looking for something outside of 1 million cups, feel free to go check that out. And we actually do, in the middle of everything, we always give away one 1 million cups cup to another attendee in the audience. So I want to go with who traveled the farthest today to be at 1 million cups. So who is more than 100 miles away from Wichita, as they call home? Well, okay, this past week. All right. They do win. I actually want them to come up here and tell them a little bit about themselves. They traveled a long ways to Wichita, and we're very privileged to have them here. So I'm going to give the mic to Jim and Deb, and tell us about yourselves.
So my name is Jim Fowles and my wife Deb. We're writers for the Atlantic magazine based in DC. For the last 3 years, we spent about half of our time traveling around the country in our little single-engine propeller plane, looking at cities generally this size or smaller that have faced some kind of economic, cultural, demographic challenge, how they've turned around. So we've been to every corner of the country. We've been to Fresno and Duluth and Greenville and Bend. And so our plane is parked at Wichita Airport. We got here yesterday. My friend Bob Lighton has been showing us around, and so we're here this morning to see about Startup Wichita. And we're honored to be here.
What do you think of it?
Yeah, so far, so good.
And one other piece of advertising. Go to the Atlantic.com website, and Jim had a lead cover story article called Come Back America.
How America is putting itself back together.
Right, and it's the March 2016 issue, and it's phenomenal. And he's doing more research on more things. So that's
And Bob and I have been friends for a long time.
Thank you very much for traveling here, and I want to give you guys both a mug that you guys can take with you and say you got it from Wichita. So thank you very much.
His wife is phenomenal. Dan is an accomplished author. She's written at least 2 books I know. One book is called A Mother's Work, and another one is called Dreaming in Chinese. All right, go look at it.
I only met Bob yesterday.
We're being fair.
Technical difficulties as usual. Well, I will go and turn down the lights. There actually. Can you guys see that a little bit better? Can you guys see that? Yeah. Just don't go to sleep. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to introduce Jeff. He is going to talk to us a little bit about the Stop Senior Thefts project. And so, without further ado.
I'm going to set the stage with a short animation. So kind of tough to get through, isn't it? I had a personal experience in November of 2014. I helped elderly parents of the family members. The phone scammers that they were dealing with were extremely sophisticated and operated very much like a business. They had a playbook. They were intimidating and threatening to the victim. And what we found out is that the victim had no cognitive impairment. She was just trusting. This led me to a realization and a lot of research over the last couple of years that victims are embarrassed, ashamed, or fear losing independence. They're afraid of being put in a home. Victims and families become very much overwhelmed by everything that they have to do. The problem is we're reactive, and that's after the damage is done. Many communities, because of budget constraints, have no proactive education for seniors. And on top of that, children may live out of town and unable to effectively address the problem. Here's the statistics that I found over the last few years. Most victims have no cognitive impairment. 1 in 5 seniors have been victimized financially. However, only 1 in 14 incidents are reported. Risk of death for elder abuse victims is 3 times higher than non-victims. And annually, $36.4 billion is lost to this type of exploitation. So based on those statistics, 20% of the attendees today over the age of 60 have been victimized. 40% know someone personally who has been victimized or is being victimized right now. That's where what we're wanting to focus on is the engagement, education, and empowerment with seniors and their families. We want to provide resources to the victims and families to safeguard their seniors with alerts, reminders, discussion topics on our website via social networking, and liaison resource for those victims and their families with other agencies. Our education will be proactive, working with seniors, family members, guardians at senior centers, community centers, churches, clubs, whatever we need to do to get the word out in terms of how these scams take place. Through the empowerment side with our website, we want to provide information and instructions on how to safeguard the senior citizen by the family member or by themselves. We want to provide information on the latest risks and methods as well as best practices to safeguard the senior. So this is our website, this is the phone number, and this is my email address. And I am happy to take any questions that you might have.
What are the letters after your name stand?
Certified supply chain professional. I had a past life. I worked in aerospace for about 35 years and left after 24 years at a local aerospace company. Yes, sir.
How are you funded?
Myself. We're looking for funds. We're looking for donations. We're looking for grant writers. We could use anything and everything. My wife reminds me that although this is a noble causes don't pay the mortgage. So I do work on the side. I have a small consulting business that I do some ERP development and database integration. And the problem is when I'm doing that, I'm not doing this. And this is what I want to focus on. This is my passion. And for anybody who knows me, when I'm passionate about something, there's really no walls to stop me. So
right now you're doing this for free?
Right now, I've started this. I want to start providing any and all education to seniors, senior centers, organizations. I want to do that absolutely for free. Where the money may come in is when I can go to a senior's house and engage them one-on-one to do research on what's happened, how much they've lost, what needs to be taken place, technical of making a change to their computers or their webs or their social profiles. The other thing that we found is myself and I is the we. That we found is that the seniors using social media and social networking, but they don't quite understand how to make the changes to make sure that they are not, they can't be easily victimized. So they don't have antivirus running on their computer. So that's the stage, or that's the area where we feel like we can make a little bit of money. We prefer not to do that. As I was telling one of my friends this morning, that I hate to do anything to people who have already been exploited, because my moral compass says that's just exploiting them further. So I have a little issue with that, but my wife keeps on pulling me back a little bit on that. So the other thing too, families are out of town a lot now. My wife's family is in Nebraska, and it's an hour, it's an 8.5 hour drive up there to help them. So a lot of families don't have someone local that can provide the resources to help safeguard their family. And the longer this goes on, the more money is built from the senior. Yes, ma'am.
What percentage of these thefts happen over the web in some form?
About 50%, depending on the research that you look at. 36 to 49% is done by people who are trusted, family, friends, etc. So it depends on what study you look at. The one that I worked on was a stranger theft, and again, depending on the research, it's 50 to 60%. That's where the people have the easiest access, because of seniors are using social media a lot more now. That's how they're staying in touch with friends and family. Yes, ma'am.
Have you looked into predictive software?
No, but I would love to hear more about that.
What was the question?
Predictive software. So I'd like to talk more about that. Sir.
Do you know of any companies, I love Noble Causes, I love what you're doing. Do you know of any companies that are targeting seniors to protect them? Similar to like a security system for our house, a security system for elderly finances?
We've run across a few in the research that we've done, and there's a couple of them out there that we want to take a little bit further, do a little bit more research on, and maybe there's some type of a partnership that we can get involved with. So yeah, we've seen some of that. One thing that we've seen through the history, my wife and I, is that you get them set up and you get them secure by getting their phone numbers and email addresses changed, and somehow they find ways to weasel back. The case that we actually worked, you wouldn't believe this. This couple lives an hour away from the biggest city. But actually, after we changed their phone numbers and email addresses, the scammers actually sent a taxi to go pick them up and bring them into town to the Walgreens with explicit instructions on what they needed to do in terms of making a phone call. When that didn't work, they sent a bouquet of flowers from the local florist using a stolen credit card with a note that says, "Please call, we miss talking to you." She called them, and we had to start all over again. They are extremely effective. This is a business that's being run. Sir.
Okay, so I got a true confession and then a suggestion. True confession is that I was a victim 3 days ago. All right, and I'm 66. I don't really consider myself a senior. I consider myself reasonably intelligent, but I did something really stupid. I got a text on my phone, and the text said that your ATM card has been compromised. Call this number. I didn't realize that, of course, the number was not an 800 number, and I called, get information. I immediately then realized I did something stupid. Called my bank and they canceled my ATM card before they went and cleaned my ATM account. But it's just an example of how instant reaction, your instant reaction when you get a text is panic, that somebody's got access to your ATM account. And so it happened to me. All right, now my suggestion. Ever thought about doing a Kickstarter campaign?
Yes.
So, I mean, I think that's something that we're thinking about, to make it, and then have your presentation on a YouTube or something like
Yes.
that as a way of doing this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, anybody here that has any ideas on how to make this thing work better, I'm great with that. This is something I'm very passionate about. Sir.
Couple of things. First off, I used to run a therapy private practice, right? And so our clinicians would go into independent and assisted living communities to provide services for those folks. And even in those kinds of circumstances where the cause for the therapy was well warranted, there was a lot of suspicion on the part of families, rightly so, about whether or not the service was legitimate, because it might cost them money if insurance didn't cover it, that sort of thing, right? So even under, I think, the most legitimate circumstances, there can be a question about the validity of services provided to seniors, especially where there's a potential for a charge involved. And so, I guess two things. The first would be a question, I think, or an observation. I think that probably somehow, if this is going to work, you're going to have to remove the possibility of a charge for the people that you're working with. So Kickstarter campaign is a great idea. You know, grants are a good idea. Those sorts of things are great. And then the second part is a question: have you worked with or connected with CPAAA yet?
No, I've never heard of that, but I'm happy to.
It's the Central Plains Area Agency on Aging. It's run by the county. They meet once a month, and it's a networking group that's about as big as this one. They're all businesses that are aging related, and a lot of them have services that actually either overlap or connect with what you're doing. And so I recommend maybe Googling that. Check it.
Right. Yeah, we want to partner with everyone that we can. In regards back to your Kickstarter, and you know, that would be very helpful, that it would feed my noble cause without me having to lose my house. And so that's always a good thing.
If you connect with me afterwards, I'll get you the information.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. So, yes, sir.
Yeah, along those lines, there's a lot of, I mean, this is good, such a great cause and such a public service. Along those lines, though, have you found any ways to work with, like, the Guadalupe Clinic or some of those safety net type of operations to include even the major hospitals like Via Christi?
No, not yet. Unfortunately, the last 3 weeks, I have been doing a paid gig at the suggestion and recommendation and urging and encouragement by my wife. So she reminded me that the we is her as well. So it's just not the me, myself, and I. But we want to do anything and everything to get the word out, to get people connected. It's worth mentioning right now, we have 2 members from the district attorney's office who made time out of their day to be here to share with this, and they've gotten behind us, and we've worked together in the past on another project, so they've been very helpful, and we want to keep them very busy. And hopefully, at some point, put them out of the job, because they don't have to try all these cases, because we're preventing it from happening. Sir.
I'm in banking, and so elder abuse is a big topic when it comes to people coming into the branches and things like that. You said about 35 or 40% is online or those kind of attacks. What about family members? How do you protect the grandparent from the granddaughter, or even a son that takes advantage of their... I mean, is there a way to protect them?
There's, that's the troublesome area. The stranger theft is not easy to deal with, but it can be dealt with. What we hope to do is, through the classes, through the education at the centers and organizations, etc., that we can put information out there that says, are you paying attention to this? So that there might be a family member that is suspicious of their brother or their sister or their aunt or their uncle. And they show up and they go through the education. They go, we have a question. What can we do? And then we can put them in touch with the correct agencies, or we can help them ourselves. With regards to banking, the financial institutions are the front line for elder abuse. They are the individuals that can see someone coming in with a stranger, and thanks guys, coming in with a stranger and they're telling them, hey, you need to withdraw $10,000 and whispering in their ear. So those are the types of things right there that we want to say, okay, that's not a privacy issue per statute that you can call somebody and get an investigation started. That's something that's been researched very, very significantly. Sir?
This problem has happened in our very family. My wife's father lost his first wife about 10 years ago, and he remarried, and went on the dating site, whatever that is, eHarmony or whatever. And anyway, later on in that relationship, the lady's son was drug dependent, and she was blind to it, but every night they had to get in their car and go wire their son $50 at about 11:30 at night. And he was too kind, he just closed his eyes to this, and then finally she died, and that went away. And then, but I'm saying the problem is the death of a spouse and the need for companionship, particularly by older men. They will fall for whatever woman smiles at them. and then they have access to all of their money, have all of their trust. So when somebody dies, the funeral type thing, this should be a key. This could be, maybe 30 days after somebody has lost a spouse. And this could all be data driven. To get with them, counsel them, and say, did you know that if you're seeking a spouse, there's a 1 in 10 or whatever, 1 in 5 chance that the spouse that you find may not have your best interest at heart. And the second one did similar things. Talk them out of a brand new vehicle, talk them out of a house, and then wouldn't have anything to do with them and different things like that.
So if anybody could tell my blood pressure was going up during that, it makes me very angry that this type of thing happens. It's something very similar happened to my family. We lost our Centennial farm because of it. So, sir?
I'm curious about local senior centers. Have you reached out to them, and what has their response been?
Now that I have this done and the website going and the social networking moving, and I'm getting paid by my, my paying gig, that's going to be what we're going to be focused on, is the education piece next. So if anyone in this room has any contacts, knows anybody at senior centers, organizations that would be great to set this up, please email me, contact me, call me, trip me, and talk to me while I'm walking out to the car. Whatever it takes, that's what we're going to do.
Thank you, Jeff. The last question is, what is the community to help you? That might have answered it, but I'll give you another shot.
So last week, Curtis the mentalist predicted that you were going to ask me that. Yeah, beyond the operating funds, donations, Kickstarter, if anybody has some experience with that, that'd be great, because I don't. Beyond that, get the word out, get people sharing our Facebook page, our Twitter. I never Twittered until yesterday, so now I'm on Twitter, whatever that is. But we also need some legal assistance for setting up a nonprofit or liability for engagement when we go out and go to the home or help a family. We could sure use some assistance on the legal front. So aside from that, thank you so very much for listening, and thanks to 1 Million Cups for